Good afternoon, boys and girls, and welcome to episode 104 of Love at First Scent with me, Persolaise, coming to you today from YouTube. And I see there's already quite a lot of comments. I need to go, need to do the usual thing. I always forget. It's only been 2 weeks since we last did this. Here we go. I'm probably going to have to skip an advert, even though it's my channel. Oh, okay. Comments on the hair. Your hair looks different, says Keith. It looks good. Thank you very much. Keith, you get the first comment. It is all still here, I can assure you. Can you see this? It's just, it is now long enough for me to do that. What's afoot, says Rich. Hi there from sunny Leeds, says Angela. Oh, so you've taken the sun away. Share some. Love the new hair. Thank you very much. It's old hair done in a new way, so you can still have the old hair as well. And Ruba says we're being treated with a haircut. Yeah, Madame Persolaise, one of her many skills is that she sort of sorted these bits out. Doesn't it feel good to get a haircut, says Angela. I haven't actually been. I'm still being very, very careful and not doing that. So this is a home job, I suppose you could say. So many comments about the hair. Hello from Germany, says Flackeness. Hello. New hair, wow, says Dana. Bonjour from Paris, says Changlu. Must be cooler for the summer, says Michael. Hello from Ireland, says Dana again. Thank you very much for tuning in. Okay. This is the little bit, keep the comments coming, I'm not ignoring them. This is the bit in the live broadcast where I have to say a few things that are going to be relevant to those of you who've been kind enough to tune in live and have been able to tune in live, but maybe not of tremendous relevance to people who will be watching the recording. And I do have to bear in mind the people who watch the recording, because it is the vast majority of people who watch the video as a recording. And when I say vast majority, I think I mean something like 95% plus of people watch the recording. But for those of you who are watching live, this is going to be one of those sessions where I do a few individual episodes, each one focusing on a different new release. This one, as you can see from the video description, is going to be on the latest from Andy Tauer, Phtaloblue. We'll get to smelling it in literally a few moments, and then we will do a few more as we go along, including a kind of new release from Dolce & Gabbana, a new release from Viktor and Rolf, and if we have time, maybe a few other things as well. So those of you watching the recording, please don't mind my saying that. It's because I have to tell the people who are watching live exactly what is coming up in the next hour or so. So stick around if you can. Please consider subscribing to my channel if you haven't already done so. Hearts, thumbs up, likes, comments, questions, all of those things are always very welcome. If you are able to consider supporting my work on Ko-fi, you will find the link to all of that below. But I think we need to get on, because we've got quite a few bits and pieces to do today, quite a few things to smell. Keep the comments coming, as I say. This is the latest release from Andy Tauer, and as you can see from the name of the video, and as a few people have already said, it's called Phtaloblue or Phtaloblue. This isn't it. I've just put a few Tauer bottles here so that you can see what they look like. I've seen from images on the net that the bottle for this particular perfume is basically the standard Tauer Pentagon, but it has a slightly more prominent, larger label. I've just got a little vial, so I'm not even going to show it off because it's just an ugly little vial that I obtained myself. Now this one is one that I have smelt before. I've had a few brief sessions, well, I say a few, 2 brief sessions of wearing it on my wrist, on the back of my hand. And the reason why this is, I first came to know that this was going to be Andy's latest piece of work, I think maybe on his Instagram, somewhere on social media. And I did think to myself, gosh, so he's taking the aquatic plunge, and I'm certainly getting quite a lot of it here. For those of you who are not aware, the reason some of us scent enthusiasts or scenthusiasts get a little bit twitchy when somebody says aquatic is because these sorts of perfumes tend to make very, very, very heavy use of a particular perfumery ingredient, an aroma chemical called Calone, or Calone, some people say, C-A-L-O-N-E, that's actually been around for decades, but only really started being used in a significant way in perfumery in the 80s, and then really took off in the 90s. So when you think of perfumes like Calvin Klein Escape, New West, they made heavy use of Calone. And Calone on its own, if you ever get a chance to smell it, you will probably think that it smells like a kind of weird, and there is something weird about Calone, weird cross between the smell of oysters and the smell of watermelon. There you go, Flaconesse's watermelon ketone. Ugh. And so many of us who seem to, who love perfume, really, really have a problem with the overuse of that note, including myself. Like Calvin Klein Escape, there's somebody in my family who really, really adores Calvin Klein Escape and wishes it had never been discontinued. I cannot stand the stuff. I mean, it was literally a case of me almost retching and thinking, God, I can't take this. So when Andy Tauer says that his next perfume is going to be an aquatic, I thought, ooh, this is a bit brave. But then I also thought to myself that if anybody's going to do it well, it probably will be Andy Tauer, because I think, well, he very, 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 very rarely strikes a dull note. And usually when he turns his attention to a particular perfumery project, he produces very, very interesting results. And I think interesting is the word that I'm left with in this particular composition. Anyway, what do you get? So you definitely get a sense of that weird watermelon, oyster, seaweedy, you're out walking along the beach type feel of Calone. But it's not overdone. I really have to sort of hand it to Andy Tauer that it absolutely isn't overdone. And what you get instead, if you've ever had the pleasure of trying Andy's Low, as in L'EAO, pardon my weird French pronunciation. There's always a word that I find difficult to pronounce because it's like lo, I don't know. I find that perfume really fascinating, and it's one of my favorites from Tauer in recent years, from his more recent releases, because it's got a really curious, compelling, unpin-downable, steam feel, sort of steamed. I was going to say steamed water, but of course steam is water in gas form, but that, or maybe sort of steamed metal form, like the feel that you get from a hot iron, where the steam and the metal of the iron create a strange, weirdly ozonic, hot mineral, sun on hot stone type effect. And I get a similar thing here in Phtaloblue, and I think that's what makes it interesting. By the way, I didn't know until I checked it out that Phtaloblue is a particular blue pigment. Apparently, it's a very, very rich pigment. When I said on the internet that I didn't know what it was, I had a lot of sort of art students saying it's a pigment. So hence this. But I'm not changing the shirt for the other videos. I'm not color coordinating with every single release we're going to be talking about today, and I have no idea if this is Phtaloblue, but I'm told it's a very rich blue. And what's also interesting is that you get a kind of anisic, herbal, woody, cedary facet, and it's almost like you can picture Andy sitting in his mad scientist studio thinking, okay, how can I use Calone and yet also cover it up so that I'm taking out what's best about it, but maybe covering up the slightly more unpalatable, those oystery, weird, bilge-watery, slightly gag reflexy type elements of Calone. And for the initial parts of the fragrance, I would say he succeeds. I mean, certainly at the moment, the opening, I don't think it's particularly blue, and I'm not, I guess he's gone for the idea of a rich, deep blue because he wants to evoke the feeling of the sea, beautiful, sparkling Mediterranean landscape or seascape. But I don't get blueness in the scent. In fact, if anything, I get whiteness and transparency, the sort of whiteness of steam. I know steam is invisible, but we kind of imagine steam as being white. So intriguing, interesting, and as it goes along, although this is a new release, so we will do a blotter update in the usual way, I think the Calone becomes more prominent, and towards the dry down, it is one of the main things that I get, or maybe by that stage, my nose doesn't detect anything else other than the Calone, and so I think, okay, I'm kind of getting turned off here. Lots and lots of comments coming, so let me get through to them because I don't want to be rude and ignore you. Right, where did we get to? So I Am Love says, I love Phtaloblue. When I first smelt it, it smelt like Bengay and Dayquil. I don't even know what that is. But upon my second wearing, I thought it was a masterpiece. It gets compliments. You should enjoy it though. Don't just like it because it gets compliments. That's fine. Good afternoon from Stockholm, says Vitali. Hi from Kentucky. Sorry if I'm missing any of the hellos, but a huge hello to all of you as well. Rich is in Newcastle. Very curious to try this one. Tauer is very hit or miss for me. I think you meant, yeah, there you go, Eric, thank you. Rich says, I just got 2 new Tauers, Cœur du Désert and Lonesome Rider. Lovely this work. Kathy is in London. Nubionette goes, probably when I mentioned Calone. Yeah. Is Calone in Sel Marin, Rich says, from Healy. That's a really good marine one, actually, that one. There may be a little bit of it, but that's a particularly good marine scent. Really dislike Calone scent, says Angela, and would take something very special to change my mind. Love Andy Tauer, a true artist, says Muddy. Afternoon all, says Floating Man. Very interested to hear what you've got to say about this one. Mixed reviews from the fragrance community so far. I didn't know that. Rich Mitch, do you think Phtaloblue is a tribute to Bob Ross from Andy Tauer, as they're both artists? No idea. We could ask Andy, I suppose. Angeline says, yes, it's one of the basic blues used in painting. Thank you. Yes, it's a pigment. Thank you. Arkadiusz says, I have to ask, what's up with that hair? It's like a clone of it's like a clone of Persolaise has taken over it's a channel similar to what Armafseed is doing to Aventus. It's me. It's just tied back. Trust me. It's me. I'm afraid it was veering towards Secretion Magnifique on me, says Christine. Yes, and of course that has a kind of marine note to it as well. Calone note tends to make me nauseous, says Angeline. The flower situation has improved. Yeah, that's because we're able to get some. Geez, tough ground. Actually, I got these today and I thought, video, need to get some fresh flowers. But thank you for noticing. I Am Love says, I do enjoy it. I said it, I love it, I meant it also gets compliments. Good. Very, very briefly then, before we move on, the actual note from the brand, from Tauer, is this, that the head notes are natural bergamot, Sicilian lemon, Bulgarian lavender, and sweet fennel essential oil. Okay, so that'll be the anisic aspect. Heart notes are geranium, orange blossom, and a compelling aquatic herbs accord. Body notes built on a gourmand amber core, dry tonka beans, and aquatic cedar notes. And then the description, surrender to an eau de parfum encapsulating the nativeness and briskness of a day at the sea. Phtaloblue is fresh and bright with elegant citrus and herbaceous notes, and at the same time rich and deep with balsamic, woody and floral accords. Phtaloblue will accompany you through your day, redefining the aquatic genre. I mean, Andy set himself a bit of a job there, but I think as far as aquatic scents go, I mean, I don't think this is going to convince me to change my mind about Calone-based compositions, but it immediately, no questions asked, hands down, goes like straight up into the top upper echelons of the best heavily Calone-based compositions I've ever tried. And that's typical Andy, because it's like, you know, when he did his oud as well, he waits and waits and waits and waits for everybody else to do their oud, and then he sort of thinks, okay, now I know what I'm going to do, and he comes up with one of the best ouds we've got. So for people who enjoy the strange qualities of Calone, this is a must try, an absolute must try, because it's easily one of the best aquatic scents I've ever tried. I will definitely wear it a few more times just to see what I think of it. But we're done for now. I mustn't take too long with these videos because otherwise we will just never get them done. So if you are sticking around live, we need to give YouTube a few minutes to do its thing, and we will come back straight away with I think the one I'm doing next is a kind of new release from Dolce & Gabbana. So see you in a few minutes.